What's going on, guys? So today is going to be a busy day for us. We're going to another piece of property we own, and we are going to do some maintenance out there. We already cut down a lot of trees and a lot of branches and things that were kind of blocking a path, and I have my debris forks attached to the front of the John Deere 50G, which we will use to go and move all of that stuff. That said, this is actually the first time I'm using this new Texas Pride trailer that we have to haul the 50G, and I wanted to go through our specific setup, and today I'm going to talk to you through how I safely and legally haul my John Deere 50G excavator using the Texas Pride trailer, and I'm going to explain how I secure everything to make sure it's safe to tow. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so in front of you is our brand new Texas Pride trailer. This is a 30,000 pound GVWR built trailer, but I had it derated from 30K to 25K on the sticker. Now, a lot of people probably wonder why I did that, and let me explain. So derating a trailer really means just legally reducing its gross vehicle weight rating on the title and the registration. People do this for different reasons. I did it because I will never load more than 15,000 pounds worth of equipment on it, and I wanted a trailer that's stronger than necessary with heavier steel, bigger axles, a tougher frame. So it's built to meet the demands of a 30,000 pound GVWR trailer, but I'm only gonna ever have this thing loaded up to a maximum of 25,000 pounds worth of GVWR, which is the total weight of the trailer plus any equipment you have in it. Now, let's talk about the equipment I'm loading today. So I'm going to be hauling this John Deere 50G compact excavator, which weighs about 11,500 pounds fully loaded, fluids and attachments and things like that. So my trailer by itself weighs about 10,000 pounds. It's a little less than that, but for easy math, let's just say 10,000 pounds. So with a 25,000 pound GVWR, I'm allowed up to roughly 15,000 pounds worth of equipment. That means I'm well under the legal limit with room to spare whenever hauling the 50G. And that might mean I'll have a bucket with me or something else that might weigh a few hundred pounds in front of this if I'm going to bring this out with additional accessories. Now, let's talk about DOT securement rules. So according to the FMCSA DOT rules, if your machine weighs 10,000 pounds or more, you're going to have to use at least 4 tie downs. And those 4 tie downs must have a combined working load limit, or WLL is what you'll typically see on stuff, of at least 50% of the machine's weight. So for my 11,500 pound 50G, I need at least 5,750 pounds worth of tie down strength. So my tie down setup consists of 4 heavy duty ratchet binders. Each one of these has a working load limit of 7,100 pounds. Now here's something most people don't know. Whenever you're going to be using a direct tie down method, which means from the actual piece of equipment directly to your trailer and not passing it through or lashing it over, you only get half the actual WLL or working load limit for each one of these. So you might be asking, why only half? Well, when you're pulling from one side only, the tension only resists motion in that one direction, like forward or backward. For example, if I'm pulling forward from the trailer to the front of the excavator, that chain doesn't stop the machine from sliding backwards. I need a second binder pulling the other way to get full restraint. So DOT only counts half of the working load limit for each direct tie down because it's only securing one direction. If I were to wrap a strap or chain over the machine, then DOT counts 100% of the working load limit because it resists both directions at once. I hope that makes sense. But for equipment like an excavator, because this thing weighs over 10,000 pounds, I'm going to have to use direct tie downs, so I'm planning for 50% strength per binder according to DOT rules. Now my setup, I have 4 binders here. These are ratcheting binders. They each have a working load limit of 7,100 pounds, giving me a total of 28,400 pounds worth of total strength. But only half of that counts towards DOT restrictions or DOT rules. So I'm only getting 4 times 3,550 pounds or 14,200 pounds total of usable securement. So that's more than double half the weight of this tractor, which is required, which is 5,750 pounds. So I'm in really, really good shape. Now, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Brilliant idea, super simple, and it's just kind of like common sense when you think about it, is to cut your chains shorter so you don't actually need to bind them to everything and have all this extra slack. So what I used to do, and I actually have my old chains, I have some of them still in there, and I have some of them that are in the other compartments too. I'd put a chain right here, and then I'd put the other hook over here, and then the binder in the middle, I'd ratchet it down, then I'd just wrap the chain around it. But you don't really need to do that. As long as your binder is connected to the frame and you have a chain connected to your equipment, and it's just not a binder going to your equipment and your frame by itself, you're in good shape. So having these smaller, shorter sections of chain is really, really nice. And yeah, V-Belt and Sons YouTube channel, great channel. Learned a lot from him. A lot of people know that I didn't grow up driving excavators, and this is something that was relatively new to me when we bought the property, and we don't haul it around a heck of a lot. So I just want to be sure when I do haul it around, I'm doing it a safe, compliant, and legal way. And yeah, watching channels like those that really walk you through the right way to do things is super important. So yeah, big credit to him for showing me this, because again, I was carrying around a lot more chain than I needed to be able to secure something like this. So yep. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this bound down. I have chain and binder on all four corners at this point. I just got to get everything secured. Okay, so I'm just going to take my hook, put it in like that, and take my binder, drop it in the inside part right here. And I'm going to hook this to my chain as high up as I can get it, like that. And then make sure I'm going the correct way here. And I love this capability to put that in the center so I can wind the slack out of it quickly. Tighten that down really well. Take my extra slack. Just wrap it around. Let's do the other three sides. Same thing over here. Take my hook. Drop it in. Okay, there we go. We are secured from a chain and binder perspective. Always remember that your working load limit is always based off of the weakest part of your setup, which means even though these have a 7,100 pound working load limit, these chains have a 6,100 pound working load limit. So you actually factor in half of this value. So if you're looking at your total working load limit, again, you have to base it off of the lowest working load limit you have on any specific component. And in the case of this setup right here, it would be the chain section coming in at 1,000 pounds lower than the actual binder itself. So just keep that in mind. So the cool thing is I get to use my sliding ratchets for the first time. Those were a feature that were spec'd into the trailer with my 4-inch straps. So we're gonna go to the other side and get these set up. So one way that you could do this is to drop this through like this and feed it around to the bottom side of your frame. That way you have nothing exposed on the outside of your rub rail. But the problem there is if it gets loose, it's just going to fall right out, right? So I don't want that to happen. Another way is to loop it to the bottom side of your rub rail like this, which is not a bad way to do it. Again, if it gets loose, it's going to fall out and disconnect, which sometimes that happens. The way I truly like to do it is I either like to put it like this, or I'll even wrap it around one additional time like this and loop it over itself like that. So this is one way to do it, and then I'll flip the strap over so you can actually see the markings on the actual strap itself. Okay, so now that I'm on the other side now, I unwound it and I wound it like this, and this is actually a method that I saw somebody else do. Typically I use normal ratcheting straps that are like 3-inch wide ratcheting straps, so I'll actually have a hook that I can put on both sides. But since I'm going to be using this, I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of slack, and I'm going to allow that ratchet to pull the strap in and secure it in place. So let's give it a shot. So there we go. We are properly secured. That is super, super tight. All of our binders are super, super tight. Nothing is moving. We have the proper chain attachment to the tractor. We have the binder hooked to the rub rail. I put them on the inside right here, right before one of those tubes. On all 4 corners, pulling from the back, pulling from the front, along with the, again, the accessory being strapped down as well. So this is what I'm going to be towing with. This is how I'm going to be towing. Basically putting this way puts all that pressure on here, saves the side paint a little bit, even though it will eventually wear out, because this is a painted finish, not a powder coated finish, and I prefer the paint over the powder coat because this is repairable. That said, what do you guys think? This is basically me showing you how I do it. Doesn't mean that it's the way everyone needs to do it, but I sure believe that this is the right way to do it. And I know that anytime you're doing something like this and you're securing a piece of equipment, there's 1,000 people out there who will agree with the way you do it, and there's 10,000 who will disagree. But I sure hope that those of you who do this a lot are cool with how I did this and you think that I set this up properly. But definitely drop a comment below. You know, I'm learning a lot about this as I go, and I'm trying to make this more like common knowledge for myself. So whenever I go through this process, it just instinctually comes back to me every time, which so far it has, but it's always a little strange every time you have to tie down a heavy piece of equipment and tow it down a highway. That said, please drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again real soon.